قبل عامين أصدرت وكالة الطاقة الدولية تقريراً حذرت فيه من أن تؤدي طفرة مشاريع الطاقة النظيفة إلى حدوث فجوة بين الطلب على المعادن وما هو متوفر من معروض. الأسبوع الماضي أصدرت وكالة الطاقة تقريرها الجديد عن سوق المعادن الحرجة، وكانت لي فرصة الحديث مع تايون كيم محلل قطاع الطاقة في وكالة الطاقة الدولية IEA لمناقشة هذا التقرير. وسألته بداية عن انعكاسات الارتفاع القياسي لمشاريع الطاقة المتجددة على الطلب العالمي على المعادن الضرورية لصناعات الطاقة النظيفة. لنتابع.
These days we are seeing some record installation of range of clean energy technologies from solar panels to wind turbines to batteries. And this is propelling huge demand growth for range of critical minerals from lithium to copper to rare earth element. In just past 5 years, between 2017 and 2022, demand for lithium almost tripled, and demand for cobalt and nickel also increased by 70% and 40% respectively. And behind this impressive growth, there's clearly the clean energy sector is driving this demand growth. So share of clean energy technologies and total demand for these minerals increase very considerably across these key minerals. And this is not the end of the story in our view. This is just the beginning of the journey. So as we accelerate further energy transitions, and we think demand for these minerals could grow further by 3.5 times in our net zero scenario to 2030. And again, the clean energy applications is clearly the main source of this demand growth.
وسط كل هذا الطلب وكما ذكرت عملية تحول الطاقة ما زالت في بدايتها، هل لدينا ما يكفي من إمدادات المعادن لتلبية الطلب المتوقع حتى عام 2050 إذا ما أردنا الوصول فعلا إلى هدف الحياد الكربوني؟
Indeed, the rapid demand growth for these minerals raises a question about whether we can have some enough supply of these minerals to serve the uptake of clean energy technologies. In our report in 2021, we warned about the looming mismatch between demand and supply to support the net zero transitions. But now, in 2023, we are seeing some burgeoning amount of new project announcement, and also investment in critical minerals increased by 20% in 2021 and further 30% in 2022. So situation is becoming better. So if all these announced projects to come to fruition and on time and on schedule, and if this is a big if, but if that happens, and we think the supply in 2030 could get closer to the national climate ambitions, but there are many risks remain. Project could delay experience some further delays, and also there are many challenges about supplying the high quality materials. So still, to achieve the net zero transition, we need to further step up effort to increase the investment in these new critical minerals.
إلى أي مدى يمكن أن تلعب إعادة التدوير دورا في تخفيف عدم التوازن بين العرض والطلب فيما يتعلق بالمعادن الضرورية؟
Recycling can play a major role in alleviating these potential strains on supply. And because especially after 2030, as end-of-life product, spent batteries, spent solar panels, spent wind turbines, they come to the market, and there's some huge potential for recycling to play a role in reducing the strains on the supplies. But today, we are seeing the recycling facilities are dominated by China, but we are already seeing the growing investment in the recycling facilities in Europe and also in the United States. So things are improving. So we think around 2030, the recycling can play a major role in this picture.
المعادن الضرورية شهدت قفزات سعرية في العامين الماضيين، لكن الليثيوم بشكل خاص تراجعت أسعاره بشكل كبير في الأشهر الأولى من العام الحالي. كيف تفسر هذا التذبذب، وهل هو مصدر قلق لسلاسل إمداد الصناعات المرتبطة بالطاقة النظيفة؟
Indeed, in 2021 and early 2022, we saw some surge in the material prices from lithium to all the way to nickel and rare earth element. And this is driven by the combination of factors, including huge demand, the recovery post-pandemic, and also the slow supply responses, and in some cases, some uptake of robust clean energy technologies. But from the later part of 2022, we saw some price declines as supply started to respond, and also there are some combination effect from the weak economic activities. So the surge in prices in 2021 and early 2022 highlight the potential risks that these material prices can have an impact on clean energy costs. So until 2020, we saw some rapid cost reduction for the range of clean energy technologies, but all of this trend has been reversed and in 2021 because of the high material prices. So it highlights the affordability and speed of energy transition can be heavily influenced by the supply of critical minerals.
كانت تكاليف الطاقة النظيفة في مسار هابط حتى نهاية عام 2020 وخصوصا الطاقة الشمسية. بعدها بدأت الأسعار ترتفع. كيف ترى اتجاهات الأسعار في العقد المقبل؟ وهل تتوقع المزيد من التراجعات الناجمة عن التطور التقني واقتصاديات الحجم؟
Yes, until 2020, the clean energy cost has been almost unbroken downward trend. But since then, that means now the raw materials, including minerals and metals, account for a larger portion of total cost of clean energy technologies. That means any price spike or price fluctuations can have a major impact on the total cost of clean energy technologies, including, in turn, the investment requirement for energy transitions. And going forward, we think there will be some intense battle between the pressure from material prices and also effort to reduce cost via the technology innovation and economies of scale. We think there's some still ample scope to further reduce the cost of clean energy technologies through the technology innovation, but also very much important to watch out the impact of the material prices and supplies.
أشار تقريركم إلى أن الشركات الصينية استثمرت 4 مليارات و300 مليون دولار للاستحواذ على أصول مرتبطة بالليثيوم في الفترة ما بين 2018 والنصف الأول من 2021، ما يعادل ضعف استثمارات الشركات الأمريكية والأسترالية والكندية مجتمعة. هل تفوز الصين بالسباق للاستحواذ على معادن الطاقة النظيفة؟
Yes, so far, China is obviously running ahead. So they have invested heavily in their metal refining and processing operations in the past to support the growth of their clean energy manufacturing industries. And they are also investing heavily on overseas mining and refining assets. So they are clearly running ahead. But race is just starting to we are at the starting point of the huge growth journey. So the picture in 2030 can be very different depending on how the countries are reacting and increasing investment in new supplies. So I think it depends on the responses from countries and government and also industries about how we can make scale up investment in new supplies in diversified regions.
سيد كيم، هل تعتقد أن الاقتصادات المتقدمة تضخ ما يكفي من الاستثمارات لضمان تنويع مصادر المعادن الضرورية سواء في مجال الاستخراج أو في مجال تكرير المعادن؟
In our report, we saw some encouraging signs. For example, exploration spending increased by 20% in 2022, and that increase has been led by Canada and Australia in many advanced economies. So that clearly translates into some future the diversified supply in many regions. But also we're seeing some companies are actively involving directly in critical mineral value chain. From around 2021, we saw some visible uptick in companies' investment and activities in this refining and mining value chain. So I think things are improving. But overall, we see somewhat improved picture for mining. But there are the same cannot be said for refining operations. So, for example, many of the new projects being planned for refining is being developed in today's dominant players. So there are some further effort needed to diversify this part of the value chain.
كيف يمكن ضمان أمن المعادن الضرورية لصناعات الطاقة النظيفة، خاصة وأن عمليات التكرير تتركز جغرافيا في الصين للليثيوم مثلا وفي إندونيسيا بالنسبة للنيكل، وخاصة أيضا بعد القيود الأخيرة التي فرضتها الصين على التصدير على الغاليوم والجرمانيوم هذا الشهر؟
I think there are two lessons from this recent event by the export ban. So first, we have been focusing mainly on these major materials such as copper and range of battery metals. Those are very much important going forward, but still we also need to pay attention to also some lesser known group of minerals such as the high purity manganese, high purity phosphate and gallium and germanium. So we need to pay more attention to the broader range of minerals and that they can supply the market. So that is number one. And also the second implication is about the building some well-designed safety nets. So when some supply disruption happens, how the countries can respond to the disruptions and how we can be better prepared for this potential supply disruption disruption is something the countries need to be very serious about the building some safety nets going forward.
ولكن ما هي شبكات الأمان التي يمكن أن تضمن أمن هذه المعادن الضرورية؟
They can include a range of elements. For example, some potential the resilience assessment and to assess how much, to what extent the countries are exposed to various supply risks, and also doing some stress tests about assessing the economic impact of those disruptions is number one. And also the companies can consider some long-term offtake or even some strategic investment in this raw material value chain as a way to minimize and reduce risks. And also, in some cases, stockpiling could be considered as an option to respond to future supply disruptions.
قصة تحول الطاقة تدور بمجملها حول المسؤولية تجاه البيئة والكوكب، لكن هناك علامة استفهام تطرح حول الانبعاثات الصادرة من عمليات التعدين وتكرير المعادن والاستخدام غير المستدام لموارد المياه. تقريركم يشير إلى أن عمليات سحل المياه تضاعفت بين 2018 و 2021. هل هذا مصدر قلق، وهل تتم مواجهته بالجدية الكافية؟
Indeed, we need to increase the supply further going forward to meet the rapid demand growth. But these supply need to come from clean and responsible sources. I think the companies are making actions to minimize the impact on environment and also local communities and social and environmental impact. But in our analysis, we saw some very visible improvement in social indicators such as gender equality and worker safety and community investment. But there are some environmental indicators are not improving at the same rate. There are some reasons for this because the plays are becoming more challenging and also resource quality is declining. But still, this analysis highlights there's some more further scope to improve the environmental performance. So ensuring some accelerating progress on environmental actions is very much important. And also, there's also issue for consumers. Consumers need to demand high environmental and social performance when they procure and making investment decisions. That gives some strong imperatives for the producers to act on improving their environmental performance.